Next up will be Fred Birnbaum, followed by Victor Miller.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Fred Birnbaum, Idaho Freedom Foundation. I'm here in favor of House Joint Resolution 4. I think there are a few important things to point out. This is obviously a constitutional amendment, but its superiority is based on its clarity, its foresightfulness, and the fact that it's transparent. This is going to be placed before the voters, obviously. And the language is very clear. And what the language says is that the voters are being asked, so this is consent of the governed, it's not usurpation. The voters are being asked to give the legislature the sole authority over marijuana, narcotics, and other substances. You have that authority now, so why do you need the sole authority? And I think rarely in public policy do we get the opportunity to act with foresight, but we can look at the failed experiments of initiatives and what they have wrought in other states like Oregon and say, we don't want to replicate that here. Again, we're not usurping the power of the people because you're putting this before the people. You're asking them to give you sole legislative authority. Everyone here looks a bit tired, and the reason we're all tired is this is hard work. This is the type of policy that belongs before this body, not through an initiative, initiatives which are driven by big checks and messaging. This is the superior way to address drug policy, is by putting it before this body. This amendment has a key word, and that key word says only the legislature. Now, you can do this now, but the transition with this amendment to only reserves this power to this body where it should be. Thank you, and I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you, Fred. Are there questions today for Fred? Representative Hostetler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Birnbaum. So after the initial process, this essentially would cut off any ability for the initiative process from the public. Is that correct?
Mr. Birnbaum.
Mr. Chairman, Representative Hostetler, let's be clear, it's just initiatives related to marijuana, narcotics. It's not any initiative. It's those initiatives. And one of the reasons I use the word foresight is that if you look nationally, tens, hundreds of millions have been thrown into initiatives to do that. And, you know, I hate to keep bringing up Oregon because I guess 2/3 of the state wants to come over here. But that was a failure, and that was done through initiatives. And even the progressives in Oregon, they had to throw in the towel after a few years. So yes, this is just dealing with initiatives related to drug policy, no other ones.
Follow-up?
Thank you. Yes. Thank you for that clarification. That's essentially what I meant. And in regard to Schedule I drugs, I had a lot of people reaching out with the different nuances of the language and things of that nature. This is specific, once again, just to those Schedule I drugs, correct? And moving forward, the legislature has control over what is considered Schedule I drugs. Is that correct?
Mr.
Or
Birnbaum.
illicit?
Mr. Chairman, Representative Hostetler, actually, that's the beauty of this constitutional amendment. It does not say Schedule I. If someone walked into the voting booth and this amendment said Schedule I, would they know what that meant? They might have a vague idea. They might think, well, I think that's heroin. I'm not sure. That is not clarity. This is just enough clarity. So if you look at the current power and authority over intoxicating liquors, it doesn't say beer and wine. I mean, that's implied. What you want, we believe in the Constitution, is enough clarity so that it provides a guideline for the legislature, but you don't need to have this list of 300 drugs, because what we have in this proposed amendment, marijuana, narcotics, and other psychoactive, it's broad enough to provide the guidance to the legislature without being overly broad that it's a list. The Constitution is not statute. We don't need a list in the Constitution, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Further questions? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony today.